Prime Minister Modi used to be chief minister, and he himself was very dependent on an equal share of funds between center and state when he was in Gujarat. So one could say he knows what he's doing because he's dealing with a number of chief ministers who are in the same position as he used to be. And the central government has also been lauded, for example, from some places for the simplification of the GST reform, the new system of revenue there. So taking all these points together, and from your point of view as a kind of summary of fiscal federalism in India, what do you think is the current union government approach to fiscal federalism, and where will it go from here? What could be the implications?
First of all, Volker, as you have pointed out, that our incumbent Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, was also Chief Minister of Gujarat, and therefore he might fully understand what he's doing. From an observer point of view, it sounds like when a chief minister will become prime minister, he'll take care of the state-related issues. But with the change of position, I think perspective has also changed. In fact, fiscal federalism, it is well known in theory that there are two perspectives on fiscal federalism. One is the subnational perspective, and other is this national perspective. When Narendra Modi was chief minister of Gujarat, he was always projecting subnational perspective on fiscal federalism. And now as a prime minister, what he is doing is actually the national perspective on fiscal federalism. So with the change of position, the perspective has also changed. Overall, I would say that the Modi government's approach to fiscal federalism is all about increasing centralization and increasing states' dependency, even in these difficult times. More generally, the central government has always tried to do three things when it comes to center-state financial relations. Number one, undertake expenditures in the areas which lie in the legislative domain of the states. Number two, nudge the Finance Commission to impose conditionalities on state governments in the name of bringing about macroeconomic stability and fiscal consolidation. And number three, expand its own fiscal space at the cost of states, most controversially by increasing levies such as cesses and surcharges, which obviously the center does not have to share with the states. All this might be in the ruling party's political interest, but in the long run, it is going to hurt the national economic interest in several ways. One important consequence of financial constraints at the states level is that states are trying to raise revenue and decrease expenditure in the most inefficient manner possible. For instance, first of all, states have hiked stamp duties on immovable property transfers to exceptionally high level, which will adversely affect the real estate sector that has already been decimated over the last few years. This will have a cascading effect on hundreds of allied and core industries, which in turn would actually frustrate the central government's plan to revive the economy via much needed demand boost. Second, some states have increased tax rate on natural gas because it lies outside the purview of the central GST. This will make domestic natural gas economically less viable and hence less competitive in the energy market, which in turn would upset the central government's target to raise gas share in energy mix from 6% to 15% by 2030. Finally, and most significantly, states are curtailing spending on development activities, which is counterproductive because it diminishes demand and slows down the engine of growth.